episode, we are in Washington State, heading about 20 to 25 minutes north to the city of Marysville to a place called Jeff's Texas Style Barbecue.
Yeah, Simon, the hours of operation for this restaurant is Thursday to Sunday from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. or until sold out. And some of the items that we ordered coming here was the brisket, the pulled pork, smoked pork belly, half rack of spare ribs, and for the sides we got the brisket baked beans, potato salad, and for dessert we got the pecan pie, and of course we got the sweet tea.
Michael, we've been discussing about heading back to Texas because we've been wanting the Texas barbecue for so long, and so we ended up kind of looking around to kind of see if there's any local spots that we could go try and find. So we've been kind of searching around our own area. I know we do, at least at some point, have some plans to go back to Texas and get some more barbecue there, but I was happy to actually try to find some places around nearby to kind of hit that spot when you have a hankering for Texas barbecue but can't quite head out to Texas to go get it.
Yeah, one thing nice about this restaurant is it does have that Texas style feeling to it where you can watch them cut the meats and everything. One thing I was kind of bummed about was not being able to try the beef ribs. As you saw earlier in the video, it does say Sunday was the only day that was serving the beef ribs.
Yeah, I was with you there, Micah. I really did want to try that. We went to another spot called Barbecue to You, and that place actually had beef ribs when we were there, so it would have been really nice to be able to try this one and actually get a comparison to see how the two did, but unfortunately we weren't there on a Sunday, which is the only day they offer it, like Micah said, so maybe we'll have to stop by another time and see how that beef rib is.
Another thing I wanted to mention was I thought was kind of interesting where this restaurant didn't actually have the pits outside for you to watch. I'm actually not sure where they are. Maybe it's in the back or it's inside the restaurant. What do you think, Simon?
My guess probably in the back kitchen area, like most Washington barbecue places, because the weather is so iffy that you can't risk making your pit outside uncovered.
Yeah, and as we were talking about ordering the brisket, I thought the brisket was fun watching them cut everything up and having that Texas style experience where you get to watch everything and interact with the servers there. Watching all the meat come out, it looked pretty juicy.
Everything looked really nice, authentically Texas, and as you saw from the interior for their place, they're Central Texas, and so they do that Central Texas style barbecue. But pretty much everything was pretty close to how you would see it in Texas. The only difference is the pits, which in Texas you can see pretty much outside of the barbecue restaurants, and so it's really nice to be able to go and look at all the meats being cooked, or actually speak with somebody who's actually the barbecue pit masters who might be out there at the time you're going to look at it.
So another thing, before we came to this restaurant, I was looking at the menu really carefully, and one of the things I was really excited to try was that pork belly. That was something I really missed about Texas barbecue, was having pork belly.
Yeah, I agree, because we do eat our share of pork belly, especially if it's Korean barbecue. It's something that we always get as a meat item we get when we do Korean barbecue. But in terms of Western style barbecue, and more specifically Texas, there's not too many places that we found that actually carry pork belly. The only other place we've been to was, and this was in Texas, was a place called Interstellar, and that had some really great pork belly that I really loved, and so I was really happy to try that one as well here.
Yeah, I feel like the pork belly here had a really nice exterior outside to it. It really does melt in your mouth. It was really juicy and flavorful. I was also really surprised by the size of this restaurant. Like when I first parked the car and we were walking in, I thought, wow, it's kind of small just on one side of the restaurant. It actually is pretty large.
And they actually have that outdoor seating section out in the front. It's not huge, few seats only, but nice that there's options. But of course, we came during a cloudy not so wet, which was nice day, but people or anybody in the Pacific Northwest knows the weather can change really fast. So yeah, you might have the outdoor space, but during this time of year, it can change and you can get soaked pretty easily.
Yeah, another thing I also wanted to mention was that brisket baked beans. That one was actually pretty interesting, and they did pretty good with that one. It had really good smoky flavor with the brisket, and pretty large chunks too, might I say.
I enjoyed that as well. It's kind of odd. I've been finding that a lot of the side dishes here in the Washington barbecue spots that we've been visiting seem to like they put a little bit more attention to it than I've noticed in the ones that we have in Texas. We've run into some things in Texas where the side dishes seems like it's just been kind of an afterthought. The barbecue and the meats are awesome in Texas, but sometimes you kind of run into these side dishes that seem like they didn't really care too much about making something special about them.
Yeah, I agree, Simon. I think sometimes in Texas they don't focus as much on the sides as they should. I know a lot of restaurants, people do mention, oh, you got to try their sides there, but I really do feel like with this one, especially with the brisket baked beans, that was put a lot of thought into it. It was really good. I'm not like the biggest fan of beans in general, but with the brisket, like cohesively, it really came together. It was actually really, really good.
Yeah, it had great flavor. The brisket definitely added to that textural component. Usually you might have some sausage or something, but it was nice to replace that kind of a sausage meat with this brisket meat instead. And then I think with the kind of the seasoning that they put on the brisket, that kind of goes well, and it just made the beans kind of stick out and pop more than your kind of typical beans that you'll see places make.
And I remember did give us a few sauces to try. They had the normal barbecue sauce, and they also had this a little bit slightly more spicy one to it. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of spicy stuff in general, but in this case, I thought their spicy barbecue sauce was my preference for this one. I think it just had a little bit more kick to it, a little bit more flavor.
For me personally, I enjoyed the original one. I'm not huge on spicy stuff, but I can do it, and I do try it here and there. And I did try the sauce, but the original one was much more preferable for me, as I actually liked using that to put on the pulled pork that we also had. That it added a lot of moisture, and that's something, Micah, that I think we've found quite often lately is kind of pulled pork has been kind of lacking dryness, and it seems like we've been finding that everywhere. So it's been a while since we found pulled pork that we thought was really good.
Yeah, I agree with you, Simon. I think pulled pork in general, for me, at barbecue restaurants, it just hasn't been that great. Like, we haven't really found a pulled pork where it was like actually really like full of moisture and the juiciness that you should be getting from it. But yeah, I think the pecan pie here was pretty good though. It was pretty nice and sticky feeling to it.
It was a pretty nice pecan pie. I enjoyed it as well. Good texture, really good flavor. Nice, sweet, a great way to wrap up all that barbecue, all the savoriness, and all the kind of thickness of eating all that meat. So it definitely helps to sweeten it down and kind of end your meal in a nice way.
Yeah, so overall, I think this one has some good potential for barbecue in Washington State. I mean, with that brisket, baked beans, and also the pork belly, definitely a good choice to grab if you're coming to this restaurant. And for this notable is the brisket baked beans. Incorporating the brisket into the beans enhances the dish flavor profile, combining the savoriness of the richness of the smoked meat with the heavy texture of the beans. The fusion of the combo was really satisfying and definitely a great classic comfort food.
Another notable was the pork belly, well coated in spices that create a wonderful crispy crust on the outer layer. The soft and tender belly in the middle created a flavor and textural paradise in your mouth. Don't miss this during your visit to Jeff's Texas Style Barbecue.
And to support our channel, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for the YouTube algorithm. And for more photos, follow us on Instagram. See you guys on the next episode.